Victor, I know you talk about TFC's 2016 campaign and how that motivated them, but your campaign in Mexico also motivated you, didn't it, when you came to Major League Soccer? I know one of the many things I love about interviewing you many times was how honest you were and how passionate you were about the game and how difficult it was for you in Mexico when you were there. Maybe just tell some of our viewers just how that became something of a motivation for you to play at a high level in 2017.
Yeah, I think for a professional player, always when you have a really bad year, doesn't matter if it's injuries, if it's because of yourself, or because you go to a club that maybe doesn't work as you thought. And it happened to me in Mexico, but it happened in another way. It wasn't so good for my family. It wasn't so good for me. We have a kid that he was 3 years old, and we didn't feel great. And when you realize these kind of moments, that the life is the most important and not the money and not the football, only the family and yourself, then when you get to a situation like in Toronto, that we had everything, you feel that the atmosphere around, it's amazing, that the city and all the environment about TFC is amazing. You have to think only in your job. Just play football, enjoy, and just win games and be healthy. That's the most important, because I knew that my family was safe and happy. And then if my family feels happy and safe, the rest comes along. And that's what happened in 2017, sorry.
And then just to pick up from that in 2018, I remember we were in Mexico City together at the Azteca. And I remember during the warm-up, you were sitting underneath the bench and you were injured during that time. Yeah. And that was a very difficult time for you, wasn't it? Because you wanted to play in that game during that run against those Mexican teams. How hard was that mentally for you, Victor, during that campaign that you weren't at your best?
Yeah, it was so difficult because after the season we made, like you said, in 2017, and of course, CONCACAF, it was the next step for us to win the last trophy for TFC, the big one. When you cannot be part of the team on the pitch, then you realize it and you try to work in another way. I was helping the guys from outside. I was saying that I have all my trust on them because I already see it many times on all the games in 2017. And I say to them, you're going to do it. Doesn't matter if I'm in or if I'm out or Seba, whatever. You're going to do it, guys, because we have everything to do it. And they show it. They show it. Also was amazing. All the guys around were amazing. And so happy because I was part of it. I couldn't be as part as I wanted, but I was there with the team.
Of course, everyone knows that the regular season went so well for you guys in 17, Victor, but the playoffs were a different matter, and there was a lot of pressure games during that run. And I always used to look at the field and see you as one of the calmest players there. You look like you're always, above the madness of the stadium. And I guess that there's no better place to learn that than Barcelona. If you can play football at Barcelona, you can pretty much play anywhere in the world. Tell us a little bit about that experience growing up and coming through the first team there.
For this answer, you have the right background now. When you play with 100,000 people, I think you are not afraid about anything else in football. Because to play with 100,000 people and in Barcelona, that you have to win yes or yes every time. Okay, I didn't play that much in the first team, but I had some games with them. You feel that, okay, I can play everywhere. I could play here with all these guys that they are the best players in the world. Then when I get to Brugge, when I go to Mexico, when I get to TFC, it was easy for me. I'm also really calm guy when I get to a situation like it's a final or a PK or something like that, because I have this, maybe it's like a skill or whatever, but I'm like this. And I love it because I try to help it as much as I can, because some guys cannot handle that. And when you get on a final like 2017, that all the reminders is coming to these guys that they were playing this final in 2016, or for example to Michael, that he missed penalty or whatever, you try to help it. And I think I did my job. I was trying to be calm myself first, because it's a final, and whatever you are, always you have something inside that you don't want to lose, that you want to do it as better as possible. And for me, it was great to go out there in this cold Toronto, because for me, it was the coldest time to play -10, I remember, or -11, whatever. And it was great because I feel like really hot and really calm, and I see my teammates and I see we're gonna do it. It's gonna be amazing. And of course, we we killed them. I think it was one of the best games in 2017.
And
of course, Eric sent in a message about the fact that you had that last goal, the clinching goal,
the lucky goal,
holding the jersey in front of the South End. He says that's one of the all-time visuals in TFC history. That moment must have been, because that was the moment really when after, and it was only a year there by that time that you'd been at BMO at TFC, but for all the TFC fans and people who'd worked there from day one, they'd experienced all these years of disappointment, all these years when it didn't go right, they didn't make the playoffs, that they'd been looking for this moment. And because you scored that goal in front of the supporters in stoppage time at the end of that game, that was because even at 1-0, people were thinking, okay, this could still go wrong, right? Even though they were playing so well. But that was the moment, I think, when everyone was allowed to think, okay, they've done it. They're winning MLS Cup. And your celebration is a special moment there.
Yeah, this moment for me also was one of the best moments of my life, for sure. Everything come to my mind. I spoke with my family the night before. We were talking with my friends to make something special also. And it come up. One of my best friends, he said, if you score a goal, you have to do like Leo Messi. I know you are not like this because I'm not like this. And all my celebrations always was with the heart to my family, to my kid, to my family in Spain. But okay, it's a final, it's a moment that you have to show something special because it's gonna happen once in your life. And I will always say, I was really lucky, and for sure it's my ugliest goal in my career, for sure. Because it hit me everywhere on my body. I think first in the leg, after in my hip, after in my belly, everywhere. But it was a goal, and I feel bad for Armando because he did all the action. But at the end, I was there, and this is like remembers me when I was a striker, when I was really young, and I was playing as a striker. That you have always this kind of smell that you have to be around the box always because the ball can drop there and you're gonna score it. And then finally, I got it. And it was, I think, the life gave me this gift because of all this happened in 2016 to me also.
Great point. I love that point that you said at the end about the life giving you a gift. You can't say this, so I will. It was fitting that you scored the goal and not Armando Cooper. I'm just going to say that. Sometimes the ball has its own life, and no offense to Armando Cooper, but Víctor Vázquez, one of the greatest TFC players of all time, was supposed to score that goal, and he did. Let me ask you, Víctor, how are you doing physically? Because I know you did struggle through injuries the last time we saw you in 2018. I have a follow-up question I'll get to in a second, but how are you physically right now playing in Qatar?
I'm lucky now. I didn't get injured since I left Toronto. It's hard to say that, but the last season in Toronto for me was a bit hard with all the things happening on my back and on my knee. But yeah, I'm good. Now here, everything is also canceled. They are working on it maybe to work again and to play again around 15th of May to finish the season because it's only 5 games left. And I have contract also until 30th of June. My contract finished now the 30th of June. And I'm looking to maybe another option, new option, because I don't know what to do. I'm still feeling really good. I'm still talking also with a lot of people from TFC, because for me also it will be amazing to come back one day to Toronto because we love it. But the football life is like this. We had to take this chance because for my family and for myself, it was a great chance. I know that some people can understand it because the football here is not that good as Major League Soccer. And I already said to them that I really miss to play in the MLS because it's really competitive. I miss to go to the other states to play. I miss to play with TFC fans in front and with the TFC teammates. But the life is changing a lot in football life. And now keeping safe home, keeping calm the people in Spain, because all the people in Spain is having hard moments. We are lucky that all our family is safe and good. And for the rest, just trying to work out as much as possible. And also with the kid, because the kid demands a lot of things also.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let me just follow up with that. Obviously, you just talked about maybe coming back to Toronto FC at some point. You didn't really get a chance to really address the fans when you left. I know that TFC did. In fact, I think it needs to be said that Toronto FC were extremely classy as an organization when you left. It would have been easy to say that it was good business for them to decide to sell somebody who just had injuries, and they talked nothing about how good you were, and fans gave them a hard time for letting you go. I thought they were very good during that process. But maybe you can share with the fans now how difficult that process was for you and your family to decide to leave at that time.
Yeah, sure. It's always difficult, like I say, because we really love Toronto, and for us it's like our second home after Spain, because all the things that happened in Toronto in 2 years, all it was amazing. Even the injuries, they were amazing, because all the staff, the medical staff we had, they treat me amazing. Then I have zero bad things to say about Toronto or about anyone. And the things that just wanted to say to the fans is that if they feel bad because I left in maybe not in the best moment or not in the right moment, it was because I get a chance. They have to understand also football sometimes is about money. It's about everything. And I was turning 32 years old, and we have to be honest. Football players, we are finishing our careers with 35, 36, if you are really lucky. And because I had also my injury on my right knee long time ago, I'm struggling sometimes with that. And I think I had to take the chance for me, for my family, for my kid, for my future. I know I'm struggling now because I'm not happy here playing football. Of course, I'm not happy, and everyone's know. I talk here with Xavi that he's coaching Al Sadd, the best team in Qatar. And he's okay, he's happy because now it's a new era for him. But the environment about football here has to grow a lot. Still so far, even from MLS. I don't talk from Europe, that Europe it's quite much bigger. But I'm talking about MLS. When the journalists ask me here about MLS, I say, you are so far. MLS, every game is so hard to win. Even if you play at home and against whatever, the last one, you're going to struggle because they are competitive, they are strong, physical. And here is not the same. It's only 12 teams. The culture about football is not the same. They are getting there, but it's not the same. And you miss that. And a player like me that we love football, we don't care, I say, about the money that much, but sometimes you have to care because you have to think about your future. Then it's hard because now I'm missing Toronto because I was enjoying every weekend about playing football. And here, sometimes when you go to play in the weekend, it's like, wow, now maybe I don't feel that I have to play, but it's my job, I have to do it.
Thank you so much for your honesty. That's fantastic. Really great, honest answer. And that, I think, Stevie, that's something that we always appreciate from Victor.
Yeah, absolutely honest. And it's fascinating to hear, Victor. And, you know, we know most leagues around the world, but I don't think we know a lot about Qatar and what football's like there. So that was fascinating. And as a follow-up, I'm thinking about, you know, are you 34 now? You're getting towards that magical age that we all try to get to, which is 35. And this next move coming up, if you indeed leave Qatar, is probably your last. Would you like that to be MLS and potentially TFC if the opportunity is there?
Yeah, of course, 100%. Totally agree. And I say to Bill also, I say before to Tim, before he left, Vazquez, also to Greg, that I'm still talking with him. For me, it would be great to come back to Toronto. Even if I can come back as a player, it will be great because I will love it. And I don't care about the money. I just want to play again and feel professional and feel happy about football. And also I know that my family will be happy also. They are so happy here in Qatar because it's summer all year. We can go to the pool, we can go to the beach, and blah, 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 blah. But for me, this is like, okay, another thing. I still want to play football. I think I still have like at least 3 more years. I feel like that. And of course, it's this era now in Qatar, it's finished, and I can talk with the guys in Toronto, and we can find a way to come back. I will love it, honestly, because nowadays, I did 2 times, I think, only about money in my life, only 2 times. One time it was going from Brugge to Mexico. One mistake. And one time from TFC to Qatar. And I think another mistake in football way, I mean. And of course, I pay it a bit, but I have to think of my family. My family now are also happy. we have to be honest, and the people have to understand. We have more money because they pay more here, but nothing happened with this. It's football, it's business, and all of us and all of the fans and all the people has to understand. Football is a business also sometimes. It's not only about to play, and we are playing football, but like I say, 35, 36, you are done. What you do with your rest of your life? If you are smart, you can save money, and maybe you don't have to do anything, but maybe yes. Then it's not easy on that way.
Do you want to coach after you finish playing, Victor? Is that something you see in the future?
Good question. I already start this week with the first level. I'm already with the level A in Spain because I have a good friend that is working in one academy, and I already do the inscription there, subscribe there, and I'm in 3 months I'm gonna have already the level 1, and hopefully next summer I will do the second one.
Good stuff.
I'm ready, and I'm talking to Greg also, like sometimes funny stuff, you know, and I'm saying sometimes I will be the first coach and you will be my second.
Victor, let me ask you about Greg Vanney, because obviously he's still here. If you were to describe his greatest strengths as a coach, you wanting to be a coach, you obviously take little bits of everything. You worked obviously with Pep Guardiola. What would you say were Greg Vanney's greatest strengths for you as a player and for that team?
I think we have one common thing, that he has also a really good vision, but outside of the pitch, and how to manage all the games and how to prepare against the team, whatever the team it is. He has always a vision, and he knows how they're gonna play, and it's easy, so easy to come out into the pitch and play because he gives you the perfect tips always. Even sometimes he does mistakes, like the players with you on the pitch, but after in the halftime he reacts and he gives you another one. Then I can say that his vision and his intelligence, it's amazing for me. And also the face-to-face with me always was the best coach I ever had, honestly. After Guardiola is Greg Vanney, because with Guardiola I had a special feeling, of course, but the next one is Greg, because we always could talk about everything, and we still talk about the team sometimes, because he knows that I'm watching many games from TFC, and he keeps asking me also sometimes, what do you think about this, or maybe we should play different, and I say, of course, you should, but you are the coach. I can give you my opinion, but you are doing always really good, and you can see that they got in another final the past season.
Did you watch that game, Victor?
Yeah, it was so hard. I never cry because I'm so also like not too sentimental, you know, but I almost cry. I feel really, really bad for them. But I think, honestly, this time Seattle deserved it more than TFC.
But Victor, let me ask you about that game. Alejandro Pozuelo was brilliant in that game. And many people think about how Toronto FC just lost the game. He is a player that talked to you about moving to Toronto. I know, and that is the knock-on effect of having players linked to the club that can help get other players in there. What do you like about Pozuelo's game? Well,
I think, like Bill said to me, he's like a younger Víctor Vázquez. Because he's like a bit more faster sometimes, you know. Also, he has one skill that I really appreciate, that he can play with 2 feet, with the both feet, you know. That's amazing for a football player, because you can kick the ball, whatever, you can shoot, you can play a pass, everything. And the way he has, it's amazing also for TFC. I know that he's going to fit immediately there. And the first game he played and he scored these 2 goals. Also, I'm so happy for him, because he was talking a lot to me, asking that maybe he won't fit there because it's different style and what we think when we are coming from Europe. And I say to Alejandro, Ale, don't worry. You're going to fit. The good players always fit in a good teams. The problem is when a good player go to a bad team, then you have to show more. And then the people start to criticize you. And maybe it's not your fault. For sure it's your fault because you are a part of a team, but it's all the team. And when you go to a team like TFC, it's so easy. And Alejandro did an amazing, amazing season.
Do you guys keep in touch, Victor?
Yeah, not so much, honestly, right now. But yeah, we keep in touch like maybe once a month or once every 2 months, but of course we keep in touch. But I keep in touch with a lot of teammates from there, with Michael a lot, with Greg a lot, with Marcelo the physio also, because he took care about me and about my family so good. And I have all the reminders are amazing from Toronto, honestly.
Judging by the comments from the fans that are watching this today, if you did come back ever, you wouldn't ever have to buy yourself another drink or a meal in a restaurant anywhere in Toronto, because there are lots of offers from people today that would do that for you.
Hopefully my family and we can come back one day to live again in Toronto, because we really miss it. And of course, if I come back, it will be like a player or maybe as a coach. You never know, but I would love to come back because it's amazing city, amazing country. And I have all the respect for this country.
Victor, thanks so much for giving your time today. I'm glad that you are staying safe, and great to hear some of the memories of your time in Toronto. Obviously, by the comments, you're loved still very deeply by a lot of TFC fans. So they've enjoyed watching this all around the world today. So really appreciate it, Victor.
Thanks, Victor.
Thank you so much.
Thank
you so much to you guys.
Good
And talk to you again. You are amazing. Thank you so much.
Take
Stay
care,
safe.
Victor. Stay safe, buddy.
Yeah.
Cheers.
There's Victor
Cheers.
Vazquez with us.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Dynamite stuff.
Brilliant.
Vazquez.
Yeah, just, I mean, as I tried to say in the interview, you know, I've had the pleasure of, this is certainly not about me. I've had the pleasure of interviewing so many footballers, and, you know, I don't say that easily when I say one of the major things I love to talk about Victor was how passionate he was and honest he was, you know, and that genuineness is very rare sometimes. And I understand why. We're all guarded. Sometimes people don't want to show everybody what you like, but you can see there that there's nothing planned there. There's nothing for him to try and force Toronto FC now because fans are going to, it's just from the heart, Stevie. It's just talk from the heart. And that's the great thing that Victor Vazquez has always been about. That's why Guardiola went and drove him personally to a doctor to try and figure it out for him, because he's just got a big heart. He's just a good person. And when you surround yourself with good people, if you're Toronto FC, you do anything you can to bring him back for that reason.
Yeah, he's just a good man. It just oozes out of him, doesn't it? You can just see the passion and the love that he has for a club and for a city, and appreciation as well. You know, this is not one-sided. This is not a guy talking about all his greatest moments. We're trying to pull that out of him. He wants to tell the fans about how special it was to play in front of them and to live in their magnificent city. I just think that was an absolutely brilliant interview by someone who is completely grateful and would maybe like the opportunity to come back. It seems like he'd be very keen on a move to TFC if that's indeed possible, and certainly MLS. He's got a great love for MLS as well. I think we have to recognise that, guys, that he sees MLS with a quality that it has, with the growing improvements that are coming within the league, and I think it's a place that he'll be seriously looking at. Hopefully for everyone listening, or most people listening, it will be TFC, but there'll be other suitors for Victor Vazquez if indeed he puts himself out there when he leaves Qatar to come back to North America.
Come on, he's not going to go and join the crew. Come on, get away.
I tell you, he wants to come back. He wants
Don't rule anything out, Luke.
North
No,
America.
I know. But imagine what a dagger that would be to some of the people on the chat today. But I just wanted one of the things that really stood out to me from his interview was talking about the fact that he's made a mistake twice in his life in terms of moves, and it was when he followed the money. Yeah, it was when he followed the money to Mexico and then leaving TFC. And Stevie, I'm sure you've been in a position where there are decisions to be made. You're leaving a club. As a former player, tell us what it's like when you want the money. Yeah. Sometimes you need the money. You need to look after your family. You need to look after your future, but you have to weigh that with personal success on the pitch and family success off the pitch. How does that all work at times, Stevie?
It's very difficult, Luke, because you need the money. You know that this is a short life, and you're trying to maximise the potential that you have, and to earn as much so that you can again choose the profession that you want to go into when you retire from the game. And so you're weighing that up with where you want to be and the kind of football you want to play. And I'm fortunate enough that I never really had that sort of decision to make, where I had to go and play in a country maybe I never felt safe, or a league that I felt was way below par. It was often for me within English football, of course, and then the biggest probably risk that I took was coming to MLS, but I was fortunate enough that I had the sort of safety net of it being a loan move to begin with for TFC to see if they wanted to pay me what was a considerable amount of money for an MLS club at that time, and for me to see if this was a good fit for me. But I don't envy that decision to go to Qatar. I absolutely agree with why he made it 100%. And maybe you guys might argue with me, but as an ex-player, I can be a broadcaster, I can be a coach, I can be whatever I want. But deep down in our hearts, we're always football players. We always think that we're football players. And I completely see why he made that move. I agree with him making that move. 2 years down the line when he said, well, maybe it wasn't the right thing, I think he should still and would still make that move, because at 32, to be given a sum of money that he was reportedly handed by his team in Qatar was substantial. It had to be done. Now, thankfully for him, his body hasn't broken down. It sounds like it's revitalised a little bit. Qatar and probably the standard of football helped with that. Now he might have a couple of years swan song to come back to North America, hopefully for us guys, because I'd love to be commentating on this guy week in, week out, or indeed at least see him week in, week out, and a chance to just have that swan song that he deserves within MLS to show people just how great he is. It would be absolutely amazing, wouldn't it, KG?
It would. I can't really add much more to that. The only thing I can add is a bit of insider knowledge, is that I know a little bit about how the inner demons were so difficult for him during 2018 because of the injuries. And I think, he said a little bit there. He didn't get completely into it. I would have asked him a little bit more if it was in person, but I think it was plainly obvious that when that decision was made by him in 2018, he didn't know how long he had left.
He thought he was done, didn't he?
Yeah, I think, he could barely train back-to-back days. The CONCACAF Champions League run was really, really tough mentally for him because he wasn't quite ready to play in those games. He wasn't able to show them. I tried to get that to him. He couldn't show the Mexican teams just the elite level that we saw in 2017. 2018 was a very difficult year for him. And I think when that offer came for him, he thought, I don't know how long I'm going to play. How can you say no? How can you say no? It's just, anybody in that field, as a family man, as a genuine man like that, there are some areas in the world I could say he probably would say no to it if there was a lot of money, but there are some areas of Qatar that are still a lot to like about the lifestyle there. And as you said, the weather, the speed of the game has allowed him to revitalize his body a little bit and believe that he can come back to make a difference in MLS. And who are we to argue?
Yeah, guys, I don't think that we can overestimate what it's like playing with pain or with injury, and I've sort of been there a little bit, and the mental aspect of that is so debilitating and so tiring that you hit a point where you just think you're never going to be normal again. Like the biggest thing that I had was a core problem, and I couldn't get out of bed, KG. I couldn't put a sock on, and I thought my life was ending. I couldn't play football. I couldn't be consistent. I kept tearing stomach muscles and adductor muscles, and it's kind of similar to the chronic injury that Victor had on his back. And so I put myself in his mental place and watching his team with this success and knowing that if he was out there, they probably get that job done. They probably have that X factor that he provided the season before. And so the mental state that he was in when this contract offer came along, thinking my body is breaking down in front of everybody's eyes, I totally understand why he made the choice. And now he's in a whole different frame of mind. He's feeling better. The confidence is back. There's a bit of swagger. There's a zip to what he's saying, and you can see that sparkle in his eyes again. And even although he's 34, he's telling us he's got 3 years left. Now, if we split that in the middle and he's got a year and a half left, it's pretty good. I know I would like Victor Vázquez for a year and a half.
Where does he fit in, Stevie? Where does he fit in right now?
He could play deeper, though, couldn't he?
I'm thinking about fitting him in at the moment, and Ali Curtis and Greg Vanny are probably, pulling their hair out and go, how do I get all these pieces into the team? But he's such an intelligent player. Look, KJ just said he could play deeper. He can play in any position, this guy. And this is not a person that sort of needs the ball at every turn. This is a guy who will play a role for the team, And that role may be off the bench sometimes. It may be sparingly at the age that he's at, to maximise the length that he can play for. But come on, Victor Vázquez fits into any team in MLS. He finds a position and he finds a role. And I think that the prospect of him and Pozuelo as a tag team as such, maybe one and then the other, or together in certain games, is absolutely mouth-watering, isn't it, KG?
Well, yeah, the other thing you can do, you can still play him at the top of a diamond with Pozuelo and Altidore ahead of you.
Yeah.
You could, with Delgado, Osorio, and Bradley behind. It's still very possible. I mean, obviously, there's been a commitment by this team to try and get more width, and that takes away from that, the desire to play with the 4-3-3. But there really hasn't been, and let's be honest, the last game we saw them play, the two players who played in those positions were Achara and Erickson Gallardo. So it's not as if these players have come in and taken over those positions right away. So despite the desire, I think, to play with that width, there's still possibilities that you can move away from that again. And look, if you have Pozuelo on the same field as Victor Vázquez, the IQ level, the football intelligence level just goes through the roof. But it does say something. We have to remember this. We spoke to Sebastian Giovinco not that long ago. We spoke to Victor Vázquez now. And we've all three of us decided to pick this country and this city for home. And we all three of us can speak about how much we love this city. And they're the same. It has to be said that says something about this country, that it leaves a lasting impression. And sometimes Canadians who live in this country, I think they're getting better and better. And hopefully during this time they are, just to appreciate it even more. You've got guys who've gone all around the world, and Vázquez can pick anywhere in the world that he misses it. He called Toronto his second home. We've all called it our second home, and most of us now, probably all of us, call it our first home. And that's just a natural consequence of someone living there longer and longer. And Benoit Cheyrou was very much like that, and they let Benoit Cheyrou go. And I think clubs like that need to keep hold of players like this, that IQ level, that love for them. And Toronto FC have done a good job of building that culture and making people welcome to come back. And they need to keep hold of these guys going forward to be the fabric of the club. That is the history. And it's a small history. They're still so young. But I think, Stevie, that is so important. Call it alumni, call it whatever you want. They're working on it. But not just coming back every now and again. Get as many as those guys who love the city, love the team, love the league. And everybody else will win because of it.
Yeah, these guys have experiences and know-how and voices that really we should be doing everything within our power as a country. And, we can't all put the onus on TFC. There is only so many jobs that they can give in so many places. But as a country of Canada, we do not want the Benoit Cheyrous and the Victor Vázquezes to leave. Now, Vázquez left for footballing reasons, for obviously, as he said, money reasons, so we totally accept that. But Cheyrou was here and he was coaching, and maybe it was an itch for him to get back to Europe, or maybe it just wasn't quite TFC finding the right role for that guy or the right position that kept him motivated and kept him here. But I believe the day that Benoit Cheyrou got in an airplane and left Toronto was a sad day for TFC and a very sad day for Canadian soccer.
Great.
So if we can get Vázquez back and in some form or the other, it may not be in June, like he said, it might be in a year or 2 or 3 when he's going to decide to coach. Let's bring this guy back into this country that he loves. Let's get him a job. Let's get him a role, because he has got so much to offer at the grassroots level and indeed at the professional level of the game of soccer in Canada. I'd love to see him back at some point soon.
He's basically giving a master's degree in football.
Yeah.
Jonathan Osorio spent 2 years with him, and you talk to Jonathan Osorio about Victor Vázquez, his eyes widen up and he'll tell you everything that he can learn over him just watching him, either not even playing with him. That's what you're getting here. You're just getting the knock-on effects of the next great players are moving forward. Jonathan Osorio was soared because he played with Victor Vázquez. And that's the key. It's the foundation of a club. You continue to bring people in. Pozuelo will make people better. Some will stay, some will go. And that's the evolution process at the high level of top sport, that you continue to set that foundation in a club, no matter what the sport is.
Producer Kev already has the link up for next week. If you want to join us next week for Footy Talks, Justin Morrow is going to be with us on the show next week. We had a long list of things we were going to talk about today. Before we go, we should talk about Alphonso Davies, because it's not every week a Canadian teenager signs a new deal with a European powerhouse like Bayern Munich, where, having spoken to his agent this week for a piece on TSN, he said Bayern came to them, they ripped up the contract. He's getting a shed load of extra money because of what he has, as a young teenage Canadian player, been able to prove at the very highest level. And he talked about, it was fascinating how after that performance at Stamford Bridge against Chelsea, talks went on into the early hours of the morning. he woke up, Nick, his agent, he was supposed to fly back to Edmonton that day, and Bayern said, no, come to Munich today. We want to get this done. It's incredible testament to what Alphonso Davies has been able to do, because when he went, everybody was still wondering if it was the right move. Would he get playing time? Would he keep developing as a player? Should he go somewhere smaller so that he can be assured of being in the team every week and maybe make a sort of a Jonathan David step forward? But Alphonso Davies getting a reward at this stage for what he's done already is incredible, KJ.
Oh, no doubt. I would argue that I said this on SportsCenter, and I think our colleague and friend Terry Dunfield said something similar on social media. I'd argue that this news is probably even more impressive than the news of him going to Bayern in the first place, because of how short a time it took for him to get the extension. Bayern Munich didn't need to do this. You know, they didn't have to do it. So you have to get into the mind of Bayern Munich, why do you want to do this? Well, first, contracts, I know it's until 2023, contracts are not the same. Our viewers all know this. We're talking to intelligent football minds across Canada and the world. Contracts are not the same as North American sports. So they understand that they need to raise their level in terms of the output, the money that they're giving him, the financial compensation, to the level of quality that he's producing on the field. The other thing is that Bayern don't let many people go. People in Germany still talk to this day about how did you let Toni Kroos go? That is one of the major mistakes they ever made. And people don't usually leave Bayern unless Bayern want you to leave Bayern. Okay, so that's the other factor. So that is very important. And the third thing for me is what I'll describe as being a significant pillar in acceptance. And Stevie, I think this is so crucial for Alphonso Davies, his confidence, that he went to Bayern and he has admitted that he wasn't sure whether he was ready to play at Bayern. Then when you put yourself in that environment and you've got Muller and Lewandowski and Thiago and all these others and Neuer, and they're all playing with you and they're impressing with you every single week and training every single day, the acceptance level goes up. And then he starts to believe he belongs. And then Bayern slap this contract with a massive amount of money on it. Suddenly the level of acceptance goes up again, and he believes now that he does belong. But now is the next step. All that stuff has given him the acceptance. The next step for him now is the inner belief that he can continue to move forward. But of course, it's a massive, massive story for Canadian soccer, isn't it? It's unprecedented, really.
Unprecedented. And all I can think about with this lad is steps and levels that has been asked of him since 16 years old, maybe even a little bit younger. And him coming up with the answers every single time. And, you know, there's no way that he could have been ready for that move. There's no way that he could be ready to step into that team. But what he does is he adapts quicker than most players, and he finds this extra rung on the ladder, this extra level in his play. And this is a classy move by one of the classiest clubs in world football to say, we see what you're doing. We see that you now deserve more. And instead of us waiting and being cheap and maybe causing a little bit of animosity in your mind, we're going to tear up this starter contract that we gave you, and we're going to pay you somewhere near you deserve. Now, the way he's played, he probably deserves to be paid like one of the best 5 left backs in world football, but he's probably not getting paid like that. But he's starting to get paid at a level that's saying, okay, now you show us this kind of form for a year, 18 months. Guess what? We're ripping that contract up again. And we are paying you £300,000, £400,000 a week to stay here at our club, because nobody leaves Bayern Munich. You said it best, KJ. You do not leave Bayern Munich on your own free will. They either make a mistake like they did with Toni Kroos, the one in maybe 25 years, or they keep you there for your entire career. And they want this lad to stay. They know that the vultures are circling the English Premier League with the vast sums of money these clubs have, are looking at Davies and saying, this kid's on course to be the best left back in the world. And they're saying, no, we're going to put you on a contract you deserve. We're going to keep you happy. We're going to keep you here. Now it's up to Alphonso to just keep making these steps, going up the levels and showing everyone that he can be even more consistent, even more experienced as time goes on, and play even better football. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see it. I'm delighted for him. What a move, Luke, and what a moment for a young Canadian's career, and what a moment for Canadian soccer. Every kid watching right now in Edmonton and Calgary and Toronto and Montreal and BC, wherever it may be, can say, that can be me if I put the work in.
Well, I think that wraps it up. We've managed to get through the hour pretty quickly. Víctor Vázquez was sensational. Thanks again to him for joining us. Justin Morrow next week will be here, same time, same place. Thanks to everybody who's watched from around the world. It's been great to spend lunchtime with you on this Footy Talks today.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. Be well. Stay safe.
Thanks, guys. See you soon.